You know when you have finals and your teacher doesn't prepare you for them, so you just freak out and study as hard as you can on your own and then only pass with a 72 when you're usually an 85 to 90 plus student? Yeah, I love that shit, bro.
Bruh, I ain't got no chill.
Hey, what's up guys? Ya boy, Deadfish here. And today I want to talk about something rather controversial because I've never done that, right? Right? Today is going to be much more intense than critiquing other people, though. It's something that is affecting most of the nation's population right now and is very negative in the eyes of the women of America. Yes, today I'm going to be talking about abortion. If this kind of stuff triggers you, you might as well just click away now. I'm going to try to stay pretty clean for the most part, but there are some points that are just going to get too graphic or too disturbing for some people. And because I don't get monetized anyways, I don't really care that much about not being advertiser friendly or age restricted. I feel like most people need to look at something like this with a logical mindset and realize how certain laws can affect women of all ages, races, and education levels. Hence, why this is going to be a more serious type of video than any other video I've probably made. I got the idea to make this video because my very own classmates. I'll explain. Back when the abortion laws were passed in Alabama, it kind of had this ripple effect throughout my school. Suddenly a wave of teenage boys all had posts about their opinions on the matter. At first, just kind of funny, most were just idiotic people who didn't post more than just a mere, "I'm pro-life, fuck you, pro-choice people," kind of things. But then it continued. After a hot minute, people were being called bigots, and were getting lashed out at for having different opinions. That's when I knew something should be said. Something in detail. Now before we dive in, I'm just going to state that I am not against abortion, nor am I against pro-life. I lean more towards pro-choice, but that does not mean I don't think laws shouldn't be in place for abortion. I believe that they should be thoughtfully put in place for every kind of situation and give people enough leeway to have an abortion if they would like to, no matter the circumstances. I would also like to tell you that this isn't a video to claim my opinion is the right opinion, and if you think otherwise that you're dumb. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just making this to point out people's reasons for being for a ban on abortion, and why I believe it's not a good idea. Like I said, most of these opinions are coming from men. You know, the 50% of the population that can't even carry or birth a child, yet are the main ones to be making these laws. Yeah, that's the part I think is really dumb. Anyways, let's get right into it. So I just wanted to ask you, like, your opinions on, like, basically everything. I'm probably not gonna say much, just because I'm probably gonna save that for the video, obviously.
Okay.
But I just want, like, your say, your opinion. Go ahead and just spill how you feel about this topic.
All right. So, I think that the unborn have a right to life, especially after 10 weeks. Mainly because, like, a lot of people say, their main defense for this topic is that, well, if the woman is raped, then, you know, it's a disgrace that she can't get rid of the child. And my response to that is, like, why should the child be murdered in the results of the father's misdeeds? I don't think that the child should pay for what the father did because you know it was immoral. I think rape is wrong, and I think it should be punished more heavily than it is now. And that would solve that problem. But
What I have to say about this is just no. The baby won't be punished. It doesn't even know that it exists yet, let alone it doesn't even have a consciousness yet, depending on how quickly you abort it. And the father of the child would most likely be punished, assuming that everything goes well for the mother and that she has enough evidence for her case.
another thing is, I don't think that I think that abortion just in general is just a bad thing. It kills about 5 times as many people, or children in this case, as cancer does worldwide in a year. And so I think it has a major effect on what goes on in the United States in general. You know, you have places such as Planned Parenthood and other sites using abortion as a marketing technique just so they can get along with their hold on, my mic just cut out. 1 second. All right, yeah. Yeah, but I just think that I think we need to negotiate here because after a lot of people think, you know, maybe pro-choice can stretch a certain distance in a lot of places right now. it extends to only a certain degree of time, because in places like, well, in separate places like Alabama, where they think it's, it's like up from, there's no abortion allowed whatsoever, basically, unless it immediately puts the mother's life in danger. I think that I think that there should be a midway point. There shouldn't be extremes to that sort, where it's like immediately at, like, when there's implantation and such, that there should be no abortion allowed. I think that there should be at least like a 10-week threshold from which they have a choice in order to make progress in the country, because I don't think that only having half the country as a whole happy, rather than have the whole country be sort of happy. I'd rather have, the whole country be sort of happy at the same time, rather than only half the country being happy with like the results that's going on, such as what's in like Alabama at this point. But
yes, I agree with this point. With today's technology, we are capable of keeping a 20-week-old fetus alive outside the womb. This means that by 20 weeks, while the baby is not done developing and will still need more intense care from the medical staff, it is far enough along to be truly living. Giving women at least 10 weeks to decide on keeping the child or not is a fair amount of time, and long enough for a law to be placed, and it will still be reasonable for everyone.
I think that no matter what, the child should have a choice. Well, not have a choice, but should be allowed to live no matter what. Especially, there's such things put out like adoption. People say the adoption system is really disgusting. Well, it's not. It's really not. And a lot of the times they do have a decent time after they get put into such care, and it's just hard to see. But
strike two for you, buddy. Foster care in some cases can be worse on the child than being aborted. Why do I say that? Well, let's just look at a few statistics from the National Foster Youth Institute. After reaching the age of 18, 20% of children who are in foster care will become instantly homeless. 7 out of 10 girls who age out of foster care system will become pregnant before the age of 21, which, mind you, is younger than what they put as the average age to have a steady job after aging out of foster care. So it's pretty likely that these women won't have jobs to support themselves, let alone a newborn. 5.1% of children who have been victim to child abuse will become victim of abuse again within 6 months. 1 out of every 2 kids who age out of the system will develop a substance dependency. And lastly, more than 20% of the children who are currently in foster care are aged 3 or younger. These are just a few I randomly picked from the list of 51 statistics. The page will be in the description for you to read if you want to see my source. But as you can see, no, foster care can start a child's life out terribly, no matter the age, really. So let's just say the parent keeps this unwanted child. What could happen then? Well, one glaring issue is terrible abuse. Children have been killed by their parents who clearly don't want them but have decided to have them anyways. Take Adrian Jones as a perfect example of this. This 7-year-old boy was subject to years of abuse, ranging from being submerged in a dirty swimming pool for hours on end, physical abuse from both parents, being tied up outside for hours, and being forced to eat spoiled food. He was found dead in 2015, and his body was found inside a pig pen, having been partially eaten by the pigs. This is just one of many reported cases of child abuse, not to mention the unreported cases. I didn't mean to ramble on for so long, but I just really hate how people can gloss over foster care or being in the care of unliving parent figures and think it's fine. It's really not. Anyways, back to the video.
Another thing a lot of people say is, well, what if the mother doesn't want the child? Well, if the mother didn't want the child, then why did she have unprotected sex in the first place? Maybe the condom broke. You know what? That's also unfortunate. You still had the choice to have sex. And the consequences come as so. And so I think that no matter what, the child should have a choice. Well, not a choice, but obviously, have a right to life.
Sorry, but I don't think literal children choose to have sex. People are still raped, and men play a big role in wearing a condom. Don't put this all on the mother. Just because the mother has a deed, or someone like the father rapes a woman, I think, obviously it's horrible. But I think that the child shouldn't be murdered in any circumstance, depending on whether or not the father raped the mother, or
or that, the mother is in a bad situation in economic status or whatever.
Let's say a mother who is already homeless gets raped or, hell, even has sex and gets pregnant. Do you think it would be a good idea to try and give birth to a child when you don't even have enough money for a roof over your own head? Better yet, be in more debt from the hospital you gave birth at? And maybe you could have your own private birth, which is extremely dangerous for both the mother and child. But let's say you succeed. Now the mother needs to make sure she can buy clothes for the baby, keep it warm at night, make sure it's fed, and even after it's done breastfeeding, find food for it, all while trying to keep herself alive and healthy enough to care for her newborn. Yeah, that sounds like a really lovely idea.
I just think that a child deserves to live no matter what. And I guarantee you could ask any child, any child that would have been aborted or was a failed abortion, if they wanted to be aborted in the first place, if they could go back and be aborted at that specific time, I bet you every single one of them would say, no, I wish I wasn't aborted or attempted to be aborted in the first place.
Well, this depends on who you're asking. If you're asking people who are going to be aborted for some reason, like the father leaving or the mother not thinking she was ready, then chances are you're right. But why don't you ask people like Adrian, or the children who starve to death because they cannot be fed on the budget their mother or the parents together have? I'm pretty sure they would be fine with being aborted, seeing as they were just going to die a terrible death anyways.
And that's where a lot of the issue comes in, is it a child? And a lot of people say that, like, okay, well, you should stop ejaculating because sperm is potential life, and so whatever's in the womb at the specific time can be potential life. Well, the difference is sperm without an egg has a 0% chance of becoming a child. After the egg implants in the uterus with the sperm, obviously, well, they're not in the uterus, but the sperm meets the egg and then it goes to the uterus and it implants and whatever. And that's a 93% chance of having a child just from implantation alone. And I think that is a life itself when you have a 93% chance of having a kid. And I think that's self-explanatory.
He finishes this with a line of, "What is life?" And I'll tell you that it takes 9 months for a baby to fully develop. It takes roughly 22 days after being conceived for the baby to develop a heartbeat, and about 5 weeks for the doctors to be able to see the heartbeat. A main argument is that life is equal to a heartbeat, which is kind of bullshit if you ask me. Y'all are just fine with it killing spiders out here who, yes, technically have a heartbeat, but get all pissy about a literal bunch of cells dying. You realize that this bundle of cells can't even comprehend pain until 23 to 24 weeks into development. If we're going to get a little bit deeper, newborns don't even really begin to show off a consciousness until a few days after being born, when they are able to look around and show that they are conscious. Now, to wrap this up a bit, here are a few things that I have to prove the intelligence of the people who go to my school. Firstly, this message thread between my friend and a kid at our school. I'll preface this by saying that my friend posted a post on her story that said men shouldn't be making laws about women's bodies. That's the only thing the post said. Nothing really towards abortion, but it's pretty related. You're a goddamn faggot for posting that. Okay. Mind you, I don't really know why people are so against the dude I just talked to, but as you can see, people saw him as kind of the main defender, and that's where I heard the bigot term being thrown around, but I digress. The point of this video isn't to dive into rumors or how people view him, so that's not what I'm going to dive into. Plus, he's chill, so it's fine. There are women in office too. That's the point of democracy. Sorry women put more men in office. Maybe if it weren't for women interfering with everything, we'd be farther along as a country. He meant to say weren't for women interfering. Blank, sweetie, there is no reason for you to be this upset over a post. You have your own opinions, and so do I. Be an adult and understand that. As you can see, though, the intelligence, it's through the roof. It's wow, ladies and gentlemen, and it's beautiful. But it gets better. This was posted on his Snapchat as well. And no, that's not the quality of the video dropping or the picture quality on my end. This was how the post looked from everyone's phone, including his. Like, how do you even fuck up a screenshot like that, bro? How? Like, what? Anywho, thank you guys for joining this shitstorm of a video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as a heads up, you can post what you'd like in the comments, but just know I'm probably not going to say anything or react to them. You have your opinions and I have mine. While I might change some people's views, I might not do shit to others, and that's okay. That's how opinions work. And so with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.